Alright, so we were saying, I was talking about fucking eating bread, and I used to have like not six, like 3 to 4 sandwiches a day when I was
Hmm.
peak fat.
Yeah,
American
I feel
cheese,
that.
American cheese, ham, sriracha, mayo, 3 or 4 times a day.
Bro,
And I
you
would
want to
do
know
it.
what I kind of have these like memories of being a kid and the choices that I made that led me to become as fat as I ever was.
go
And I
go down
often
that
think
road,
about,
bro, please.
bro, I often think about like some of the creations that you make when you're a fat child, bro, is insane. Like it's parallel or equivalent to when you fucking smoke weed for the first time
Oh, dude.
and you're just trying to be as crazy as possible with your munchies. But I remember making sandwiches and I'd put Nutella on them and then I would put chips on them with like potato chips and then I would put ice cream on it. What the fuck are you doing, bro?
Yo, that's fucking demented.
It's
That's
beyond demented, bro. No wonder I ended up at fucking 140 kilos, man. That's unholy.
yeah, it is fucking crazy because most parents. I feel like this is like a systemic failure and not necessarily like a parental failure
Like a
all the way,
parental
but
one, yeah.
I think it's becoming that, but like the kids menu. I know everyone's talked about it. I know it's like an outplayed topic. Like kids menus fried as shit, bro. Like
Mm.
mac and
Nuggets
cheese,
and
chicken
fish fingers
tenders,
and mac and
garbage.
cheese, yeah.
Fried,
It's all
literally
crap.
all shit. It's like we are supposed to become fat. It's like part of the game. And
Mm.
I don't know, like, and then I see, bro, I don't know how it is in Australia, but in America, like, I went to the mall yesterday. I was door dashing, and
Uh.
I saw like a bunch of fat 12-year-olds who were like bigger than me, and I'm like, yo, what
I
are
see
you
it quite often,
like?
bro. You
Who?
definitely see kids are getting fatter. That's definitely that's for sure.
I just like who allowed this to happen
It's
at
an
all?
endemic. I mean, over here we have like our school cafeteria. Our cafeteria isn't like a cafeteria. It's like most people bring their own lunch to school. I don't know what the fuck the system is in America, right?
My parents did
For
that for a
what
while.
I've been taught by TV is that you all have a cafeteria and you get your lunch given to you by school.
Yeah, it's terrible. You type, dude, it's like jail. You type in a fucking number.
Yeah, that's crazy. That doesn't happen here. We have what they call a canteen where you can buy food if you bring money. And so you can buy like I don't know, like a chicken burger or like a little chicken salad wrap or like sandwiches or a meat pie or like a cup of noodle soup like ramen or some shit like that. But about halfway through my high school, they changed our canteen to this green light system. So it was like green light, yellow light, red light. And red light, they got rid of all the red light food. So all the shit that people like, like chicken burgers and shit like that, you couldn't get them no more. They replaced all the drinks with diet drinks. So you couldn't get Cokes anymore. You could only get Coke Zero. That's good. I was fucking drinking Coke Zero anyway. In fact, my canteen is where I found out my love for vanilla diet Coke. And I was like, this shit is
Oh,
crazy,
bro,
bro.
and that's just more addicting than regular soda.
Facts.
That's
Facts. But
crazy. We didn't have
yeah,
any soda at my school, bro. None.
we had
Ever.
this yellow light, green light, red light shit. But I would confidently say that most people brought their own lunch. I mean, I brought my own lunch to school most days.
Well, I'm gonna generalize real quick. Is your mother a crazy cook?
No.
No? Fuck!
Nah, not really. I mean, yeah, she can cook, but I always say that it kind of skipped a generation because my grandma's an amazing
Really?
cook.
Bro, I
And I'm a
figured.
really good cook.
Yeah,
But
you're nuts.
yeah,
You need to start posting
my
what you cook again, bro.
for real, my mom is like she's a good cook, but it's like she doesn't like to cook and she won't cook often, especially these days. She's not about it anymore. She'd rather me cook. And that's fine. But yeah, there's few meals that I enjoyed from my youth that I like remember. Not to say that her cooking's bad. Her cooking was fantastic, but it's not like she's not very passionate about it, you know?
Yeah.
And she
I
doesn't
get
have a
that.
lot of recipes and she sticks to her staples type shit. She make a good green curry though, which is unexpected because she's not Asian by any means.
It's all good, dude. My mom makes a good fucking butter chicken.
Oh, love it, bro.
Yeah.
Absolutely love it.
I thought your mom would be the cook with the way I met her. She came in fucking swinging with her
Yeah.
takes, and I was like, "Yo, this lady has to like." I guess I was wrong.
You know, she's more into gardening and sewing. Those are her things. So whenever I need pants taken in or altered or holes fucking fixed up, she's good for it. She's good for the haberdashery. Cooking, definitely my sweet. Even my dad was fucking with cooking for a bit, but he's not a big cook. But yeah, for lunches, bro, both my parents worked, like, so I made my own lunches if I bothered. Some days I went in and I was like, I'm not going to take lunch. I just eat when I get home. And that was also another decision that led to me getting fat, I reckon, because I would go all day without eating. And then I would get home and I would raid the cupboard and I would just go fucking bonkers, bro.
Yeah, we all did that. Even if we ate lunch or breakfast and lunch, I get home. That's the first thing. You go into the fridge.
I would get home. I would load up Black Ops 1 and play with my boys.
Oh man.
But only after I walked down to the corner store and bought a tin of Pringles and a Dr. Pepper.
Oh.
And I would be like, this is my goal to finish this during this Black Ops session.
Dude, it hits. That stuff hits just as good these days, too. Like, the fat kid pleasures are just unbelievable how powerful. Like, I don't drink much soda anymore. But
that's good.
Every
I drink
time...
a lot of diet soda, so I need to stop it.
Oh, man. Dude. Oh, God.
Dude, I won't lie, it's what keeps me stable in my ability to lose weight. I guarantee I wouldn't have been able to lose 45 kilos without the help and assistance of Mr. Pepsi Max.
Pepsi Max, dude. That's so funny. Bro. Every time I have a soda, especially when it's hot, I've been working outside or whatever, like...
That's the best, COD. When you've got, like, a full sugar Coke,
I was just about to say, from, like,
a hot day.
From, like, a restaurant in a cup, not a fucking bottle of it. Oh, dude.
Nah, the best.
You
fuck with the glass bottles? Glass bottles here, they're like...
They got cane sugar.
Different breed, bro.
They're the cane sugar ones.
It's crazy. I don't know if we get the cane sugar ones here. Because there's, like, you know when you drink, like, a Yarito? You know Yarito?
Yeah, I have one in my...
Bro,
my dad has one in his
they're
car.
so fucking good. That's what Coke should taste like, bro.
Yeah, it should. It should be cane sugar. And it's funny because it feels so hipster to be like, the cane sugar one tastes better. But, like, it is. I literally just had a sip of a cane sugar strawberry crush in a glass bottle the other day. And,
ooh.
Dude, I was fasting too. And my girlfriend was like, bro, just try it. Like, she didn't push me much further than that, but I was like, all right. And I took a sip, and I was like, dude, that's liquid gold. Like,
for real, man.
You can't. And like I said, a hot day, like, you get a slice of pizza or a cheeseburger, and oh my fucking god, bro, it's not
different. It's enough to drive me mad, bro.
Yeah, talk about a music podcast. I knew that's always the best way to start is with food. Like,
yeah, no, fucking oath. It's a way to a man's heart, they say.
The sandwiches, bro. I want to get more into music. I want to get more into like the origin story of the fatness. So my parents always shopped like I was a homeschool kid. Smucker's peanut butter. I don't know if you have that there. I'm gonna guess.
Nah, yep, I know it.
And no Jif or Peter Pan in the house ever. Not once.
Is that like what's that? What I know what Jif is,
those
but
are
is
the
it
name brand, like, less healthy?
Okay, I get you. So in a
thank you.
In a perception sort of way, they're not seen as as good for you.
Yeah, there's hydrogenated oil in it, and they fucking hated that shit. They still hate that shit. I don't know enough about it, but I'm pretty confident that it's bad. But I've been slamming Jif while I've been on this protein kick. So I'm like, dude, it's so good. Like,
peanut butter's peanut butter, bro. And I'm a fucking sucker for peanut butter. I thought I was allergic to it for the longest time of my life. My parents would tell me I was allergic until I was about 14. And then I just seen some in the pantry.
You just went for it?
I'm like, fuck it, bro. I'm gonna try it. And I think in that one day I ate 14 years of collective peanut butter because I was just like, this shit is
You
gas,
probably
bro.
did like
What the fuck have I been
4,000
missing out on?
calories in peanut butter.
Dude,
'Cause
I
it's
think I ate the whole tub. It was insane.
like no one's eating a tablespoon of peanut butter. You get a there's
I
like
eat a
there's
tablespoon
no
of peanut butter,
no no
bro.
no no like a literal tablespoon of peanut butter. You get a fucking whopping tablespoon. Like
Oh,
you put
yeah,
it
I
in there and
get
it
you, I
comes
get you.
out and it's fucking this high. Like
I get you,
that
bro.
bite, or I usually break it down into a few bites, but that's like 300 to 500 calories. Like a fucking glob of it is so
It's
much.
nice though.
But
I try to use a teaspoon so I don't have that problem.
like like a measuring teaspoon.
I don't know how you guys do. You guys keep teaspoons in America?
Yeah. Yes, we
'Cause
have
I've got
measuring gear.
no, but it's not like.
Is it like a
I
teaspoon,
mean, I wouldn't.
like for tea, like a cup of
Yeah,
tea?
it's a teaspoon for a cup of tea. They call it a teaspoon because you like measure out a one sugar to put out in your tea and then stir it. You know.
I think our teaspoons are bigger.
Yeah, our teaspoons, it's a perfect measurement tool, bro. I mean, I wouldn't even call it a measurement tool because it's more useful than just measuring. But yeah, the teaspoon, I try to use that. There's this psychology of like keeping your plate or your utensil smaller so that it seems like you're eating more.
I heard that once.
Yeah, I heard it when I was a kid and I kind of latched onto it because it was like, if you have food, put it on a smaller plate and it will make the plate seem fuller, so you're like eating more food. By the time you get to the end of the food, you're like, okay.
Hell yeah. Oh, dude, you know, like any places that smell plates, kind of like, I don't know if you guys have any Puerto Rican restaurants over there, but like, I don't know if there's halal places that do like small plate, medium, large. Like you
Yeah.
can get it to go, and you get the small box, and it's like,
Mm,
it feels like more food, and it's
mm.
stacked, and like, I don't know, dude. That's my shit, man. I'm trying to do high protein, lower carb, because most of what I ate was carbs, and I was eating something fried every day, almost every
Mm.
single day for I don't know how many times. And now in the past 3 weeks, I've had fried food less than 5 times,
That's good, bro.
which kind of happened by accident. It's just because I was eating the burgers, right? 80-20, fucking lean to fat ratio, ground beef, slice of cheese on 4 of them if I can fucking do it. But
Mm.
and that's like 50 to 70 grams of protein roughly, and that's one meal. Do that twice a day or that, and then something that's a little bit more traditional and has some carbs or whatever. And that is making fasting a lot easier because I
Mm.
actually have the protein that I need. My doctor said half your body weight, like, figure in grams of fat. So 120 or fucking protein. So 125 grams of protein for me, as if I'm 250 pounds, which is fucked because I'm 5'6", which still fucks you up because I'm so loud and proud. When you first found out I was 5'6", you're like, fucking 5'6", cunt.
It still fucks me up, bro. I still swear that you're taller than that, but I guess not. It's like a stature, like how do you say, personality thing. Like your personality's quite big, so you seem taller.
Yeah, well, not when I meet you and you're fucking 8 inches taller than me. It'll be funny. It's very annoying.
I'm not that. I'm like 5'9", maybe 5'9.5".
Big difference.
Bridging 5'10".
5'6". Anyway.
You're giving Tom a run for his money, bro.
Fuck, yo, Tom? Time 2?
He's about that. He's like, I think he's 5'7".
Yeah, no, but yeah, I'm loud. I'm always the loudest one. So I'm working on that actually. I think it was Avery said a few weeks ago. I said how I lose my voice every time I hang out with like whoever, and she's like, "Yeah, it's because you're obnoxious."
Yeah,
I
you're
was like,
screaming
"Oh
and shit.
fuck!" And then I realized, and since that one thing she said, I've like caught
It
myself
broke the odds.
screaming for no reason, and I've been talking quiet, and I think my more people that are sensitive to like my almost manic kind of energy are receiving what I'm saying better now because I've learned
That's good.
how to talk slower and not scream as I talk, which is obnoxious. Like when I see
Nah,
someone
that's
else
good.
do it.
my missus always tells me that she can't be if she's here and trying to work on the couch or something, and I'm on Discord. Not a good combo because I cannot control my fucking voice and emotions when I'm on Discord, bro. It's like another man takes over.
I mean, bro, when you guys get going, when the Aussies
Yeah.
get going, it's bad.
When it
Like,
gets going, it gets going.
when I first joined here, I was so excited because I was like, I'm pretty much the only American, and you were like, yes. And then I've told like 5 people about this. When I was on here with you, and Avery was in here, and a bunch of your friends, and we were playing COD. And you said something about the Australian barbecue. I was like, what's up with the Australian barbecue? And you did the Mike Nolan thing, like, fucking. It's like a southern trailing off thing in the U.S., but Australian, and it's so much more funny.
Yeah. It's funny that I never realized how Australian I am perceived as until I meet somebody who's not. And then it reminds me, like, because in the scope of Australia, like, I'm a first generation Australian. I don't have like a crazy Australian accent because I was raised in the city. And my parents speak 2 different languages from each other. So
that's crazy.
I always found it like hard growing up to call myself Australian. I didn't really see myself as Australian. But then something like kicked the fuck in when I was like, it was actually probably around the time I started rapping with my Aussie accent back, like, proper, which is quite late in my life. Like, I'm 23, 22 years old, starting to finally embrace rather than, because don't get me wrong, it's good to be proud of your background and your heritage and stuff. But I also believe, like, this is the country that raised me. Like, this is the country that I know I should have a little bit of pride is not the right word, but like I should have some understanding of who I am and what my culture is, because I can't front. I'm about as Italian as freaking, Papa John's, and I'm about as Palestinian as fuck. The hummus you buy from Walmart, bro. Let's put it like that. Sure, I have that shit in my roots, but to claim that I'm, as Italian as the guy from Italy or as Palestinian as the guy from Palestine, like, I'm fucking Aussie, man. I'm fucking Australian.
Dude, and it's funny because you told me when we first met, and then you've mentioned it several other times, about how when you started rapping, you masked your accent. And when Avery and so she just heard all of the, like, project tracks. I mean, there's 4... There's like 3 that are done, kind of, and then there's the Vetements one that you didn't do anything
that
on
I
yet.
Still need to hop onto.
Yeah. Then there's that crazy thing you did where the thunder was hitting, but that doesn't count yet. But I played her like 36K or 36,000. No, that's the same fucking thing. And Good Lord and 2 Phones, and she was like, "Yo, like when the accent comes through, that's so sick." And it's funny because you saying that, and then when I did when I did it on Good Lord, like, that shit was just so fun. And it's funny how you try to hide. I mean, most of us do that. Like, we try to hide our voice when we start.
Yes, 100%, bro. When I first started, I was using American accent, and that was, I almost want to say that was like a subconscious thing to a certain degree. I was listening to a lot of American hip hop. I wasn't listening to anything Australian. Like, I was kind of just mimicking what I heard and what I wanted to hear. I was listening to a lot of Tyler the Creator as well, so it kind of like, it made me want to change my voice, because he so often was like pitching his voice up and pitching his voice down and obscuring it in ways. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna try to do that, because I didn't love my voice back then the way that I love it now. I wasn't as confident in it the way that I am now. So kind of going through those years and putting my obscured voice out there and getting that feedback, like, I had people who fucked with my music, but I also had people who were like, let's call them Australian gatekeepers to an extent, like people who held the next key to get to that next place in music, who would always be like, yeah, your shit is okay, but why do you rap with an American accent? And it was a valid point, I kind of made me think about that shit. So after a few years of making music and producing and rapping with an American accent and trying to find my voice, I eventually found myself just rapping in the voice that I talk in, so a little bit more comfortable with that shit. And that still happened during Johnny from the Burbs, and still to a degree, I felt like I had a little bit of that reputation and a little bit of that stigma against me because I had pushed myself so vehemently as Johnny from the Burbs with the music that carried the American accent. I mean, I dropped 3 albums, bro, three
Oh my
mixtapes
god.
that
Are
had
they
that.
all gone?
Nah, they're still all up.
Oh shit.
I wanted to leave them all up for the people who liked that music because ultimately, like, doesn't hurt me to have it out there.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to continue releasing music under that name and with all that music out there. I thought it would be better to start clean and only have a catalog of music that I can stand on rather than allowing people to see the journey all the way through. Like, because if
Yeah.
people want to see that, if people want to know that, they will look and they will find it.
Yeah.
That's why I left it up. But I don't want to have it so like front facing, you know? I want to make
Absolutely.
motherfuckers work for it.
I mean, I felt that I deleted all my old shit. There's still some really old stuff on SoundCloud that I've left up just because. But my old EPs and shit and albums, like they're all gone because there were good ideas in there, but most of it was pretty bad. And
Mm.
that's the funniest. I think one of the funniest parts of making music, especially in the new era, by yourself in your bedroom or just with one friend. Like when you're in a band, it's different because you end up playing for people pretty quickly. From under my,
Yeah.
I've never been in a band, so I could be wrong, but most of the time, like bands are trying to play live pretty quick,
Mm.
and you can see a real world reaction from a room, which is much more honest or more likely to be honest as opposed to your friends who are like they don't want to be awkward or whatever. Like there's
Facts.
but part of getting started as an artist is almost always, unless you're just so fucking naturally talented that it's stupid, is being delusional. It's a huge part
Well,
of it.
you know what? You know what, bro? I actually did a lot of shows as Johnny from the Burbs. I was quick
Really?
to it, you know, because I had just come out of my band, so playing shows for me was normal. And I was like, oh, I want to try and I understand that shows is a way that you expand your audience and get people to understand what music you're trying to push. So I was on that shit pretty quick. So I did a hell of a lot of shows, especially while I was still rapping with American accent. And I won't lie, it wasn't even like an obscure thing back then. I would say it's weirder now to hear someone rapping in an American accent in Australia than it was then. There
Really?
was plenty of people doing it. Hip hop in Australia is kind of like 20 years behind everyone else
Really?
to a degree,
How
maybe
so?
10. I feel like the trends that come from America, and now with TikTok and shit, and like the last 2 years, I'd say that dichotomy's kind of changed. But prior to that, like when I was first coming up and starting to rap, there was definitely an understanding that Australia, trend wise, and what we're listening to and type shit is about 10, 15 years behind of what the American palette is. We were more in line with something like the British palette, and grime and drill were very huge here and still are to a certain extent, and a whole bunch of shit. But I guess maybe artists like the Kid Leroy helped to change certain aspects of that.
Hell yeah. I always forget he's
Funnily enough,
Australian.
a lot of Australians also forget he's Australian, bro. I won't lie. Yeah, but good on him, bro. Like if I was given the opportunity to do the what he's done, I would have taken it in a heartbeat.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
So
he's
I
huge
don't
and he's
understand when
remained relevant.
yeah, I don't
It's
understand why people point the finger at him and say, "Oh, you forgot Australia, or you did this, or you did that." It's like, bro, he's just doing what an artist should do. You know, he's putting himself first and he's putting the career first. Like, you wear your city on your back when your city is gonna like, how do you say, benefit from that, but you don't do it too early. Otherwise, you know, you both lose.
you become a hometown hero, and no one. I mean, some people want that,
Exactly.
but you don't want that at all.
Nah, but
Um,
some people want you to only be a hometown hero, bro. Some people only want you to like they don't like tall poppy syndrome, you know?
yeah, I think that's a big part of. I'm gonna try to speak for both of us. I very could be wrong, but I actually think I'm more socially reserved when it comes to the people around me in music than you are, because
Real.
you have trauma and shit. I have like a very very select 3 people I work with from here. There's a couple more that I'd like to, but it just doesn't work out. You know?
It doesn't
And,
pan out. Yeah, I get you.
it's funny being more lucky. Like I get more communication from you than some of my like producer homies I've lost touch with, and you're literally on the other side of the planet. And I'm very very picky to the point where it's annoying, and like I almost get anxious when someone who I'm not a fan of like wants to send me beats.
Yeah,
And I tell them up front, I'm like, yo, I'm the pickiest motherfucker ever. Like,
I get you.
I'm so
Same.
annoying. But when someone hits me with something and it works, I'm like overjoyed.
Mm.
And now a couple people, one or two, I think it might just be one, but this dude King Mags hit me up, and he's cool with Sapger and Morgan, and his stuff like falls in a similar category to them, and he sent me stuff, and like I liked all of them. I might not use all of them, or maybe one or none, but he sent me a small pack of shit that was exceptional. And like I'm so, you've heard me say this a million times, and I think you and I mean, you heard a bunch of my old shit a few weeks ago, so we are on exact opposite sides of the spectrum of maybe not what we like, but what we listen to. And like I'm so over the generic trap beats for the most part. Like when something is great, I'm stoked. You know what I mean? And I had a conversation with one of my friends like a little over a month ago, I think, and he told me that my stuff isn't experimental. And I don't know how to feel about that, because like I know
experimental's perception, right?
Yeah.
It's also the perspective of what were you making before and what are you making now, and are you experimenting from then to now? So I see what you mean when you say you're making experimental music, but I can also see your boy's point of view. Yeah, because like, if he's listening to someone like JPEG Mafia or Death Grips,
that's exactly what I thought. Like I'm not experimental compared to that.
That is in essence experimental hip hop. You know, even something like Yeezus, which I know your beats kind of like edge towards that grit and that industrial sound.
The greatest of all time. Still.
Facts. But experimental has such a wide umbrella, which is why even me, I've tiptoed on doing interesting things in my beats and putting in sounds that would jar people, but I've never personally considered my music to be experimental, because I've also listened to artists like JPEG Mafia and Death Grips and all these other experimental hip-hop artists.
Oh, dude, that song you showed me is so good.
It's like that is experimental. You know what I mean? Yeah. You're trying and you're pushing the fold of what music even is. It's not like what I'm making anymore. It's like it's experimental for me. It's like, fuck. Imagine trying to show this to a cunt who was born like in 1950, let alone, you know,
or
even earlier than that.
2000, dude. I signed in this kid at the skate park 2 days ago, whose birthday was in 2015. That fucked me up. That's a 9-year-old, dude, born in 2015. That's oh my god, dude. Shit, time is flying. But anyway,
crazy.
Yeah, dude, I feel like, you know, I mean, one of the reasons I resonated with you so deeply just upon like first meeting was I wish I remembered what song you used for that competition, cuz we met
I think I want to say I used Bongus World, like the actual song Bongus World.
Is that the intro to the album?
Yeah. I want to say that I used that one that day, because I think that was the last song that I made for the album, despite it being the first one. And I actually made it like 2 weeks before I wanted to drop that, before I uploaded it all to DSPs. Dude. So it's funny to me that, one, not only did I make that song and make it the intro, but I also made it the title track. I was so confident in it. And I'm glad when I came into that ORS server and showed that song, I felt like I was putting my best foot forward. But at the same time, I honestly feel like I could have showed any song from that project and somebody there would have resonated with it. Like, I'm so proud of that EP, that mixtape, whatever you want to call it.
Absolutely.
That even
bro.
like it's about 10 months since I dropped it. I dropped it in April
That's
last
fucked.
year.
That's fucked. Dude. Well, it so many people and especially in the underground, like this is not the case 100% of the time, but it damn near feels like it, especially listening to so many new artists for such there was a real chunk of time where I was listening to new music for at least an hour every day from like people like us, people without a lot of fans,
Yeah.
people that didn't really
I mean, it's
have...
good. It's good to expand your horizons, but at the same time, it's also like it's a lot to take in.
Yeah, but when the horizon...
There's a lot of new sounds and shit.
But it wasn't. It
Mm.
wasn't. Like, there... 7 out of 10 or more of the tracks I heard all fell in like
All fell, yeah.
one of 3 or 4 lanes.
Yeah.
And that was... I guess you get to choose what that is to you. To me, that was both... It was encouraging for me and discouraging for music. Because, like, I'd meet someone, they'd be like, yo, check this out. And it's a drill song. And it's the same bars and the same flow and the same inflection as the other 100 drill songs I heard this past 2 weeks. Or I hear, like, a Rage song, and it's the same story every time. And, like, when I heard you... And I heard that, like, rock, like, metal voice. I was like, yo, who the fuck is this dude? And it just, I knew immediately. And I was like, and he's fucking Australian? Like, yes, sold. And I think I added you during the competition. I don't remember if that's how that went. But I think I added you during the competition. And then, did you hang out after?
I did. I remember being there a long time that day. I mean, look. It's pretty funny that by chance we both popped into there, and I think it's pretty amazing that, I've formed 2 very good long-standing relationships via ORS, like you and Bart, who have both been quite instrumental in this last year of music for me, whether it's through us making music together and just bouncing ideas back and forth, or just Bart, somebody to listen to my music and tell me what he thinks of it in an unbiased listener perspective, because he doesn't make music, so I really appreciate that he can give me that.
He's the best
that
supporter.
Side.
He's the best supporter.
Facts, and he keeps it P,
so
bro.
much.
I've showed him a bunch of tracks from Bongus World too, where he dead ass told me, he's like, I don't like what you're doing on this track, but I see what you're doing. You know what I mean?
And
I'm
you
like,
need
that's
that.
fair. I'm not gonna change it for you, Bart, but that's fair. I like to hear it from you, bro.
And
I like to know that you're not just pulling my weenie. Facts.
Yeah. And yeah, man, he's exceptional. And fucking, I really have, like, we have Jeevan to thank for that. Dude, you gotta catch up with him.
I need to catch up with him. I actually sent him a message not long ago, and he told me to get at him on Discord and to send him some of the music that you and I have been working on. And then I meant to ask you which song I should send him, but I thought that you'd say Good Lord, and I just never ended up bothering to send it to him. Maybe I can send it to him now.
Let's just talk to him together soon.
Yeah, we should.
Yeah, because we're all in total... And now he's been traveling. He did a couple interviews. I mean, not that anybody's going to hear this for a long time or ever, but he's really cooking now.
Going crazy.
Like, moving to New York was massive for him, bro. Yeah,
it would have been, bro. That's
Philly.
What's happening.
He's from Philly, and he was in Philadelphia for the fucking Super Bowl, so that was sick,
Oh, that's
too.
boss.
Like, that's just so dope. But yeah, Jeevan is just so fucking sick, and Kashi has put in so much work in that server, and the server's not awake right now, but it will wake up. And
I've seen people in there, like,
people
chilling
still send beats almost every day. So, what, very generic question, but I don't think I've ever asked you this, so I want to ask, was there an experience that you had and you were like, yes, like music, like I want to do, was it always a thing? Did something happen? Did you go to a concert? Like, what was the Was there a moment, or is it something that just kind of happened?
I I reckon it was something that just kind of happened, bro. Like I remember doing my very first like experience or forte with music was there was like a charity show that my school was putting on when I was in year 9, and we had assembled a small band to do a cover song of Axis of Awesome's Four Chords. I don't know if you've ever heard it, but
Never.
it's like a parody song where they play the four chord structure that is like basically the foundation for like 300 different songs.
Oh shit.
So it's like a continuous medley of like Don't Stop Believing and fucking Africa and a bunch of other songs.
Nice.
And it's done in a funny way. So we covered that, and that kind of made me realize that I can sing.
Bro, you
In
can.
like I used to get called Jack Black in high school all the time, and I was a massive fan of Tenacious D and like Pick of Destiny. I watched when I was a kid like so often and recited the words, sung all that shit. A plethora of different bands in high school. Like I was in a glam band and I was in a rock band, and then I ended up being in my metal band, which was a more serious sort of foray into music, and that saw me getting into a studio and doing practices and writing and going to gigs and playing with bands bigger than ourselves who are actually signed to labels and all that sort of shit. So that kind of woke my eyes up and made me have that feeling of being a real musician. And when the band was winding down, I had already gotten into production because when I bought my Mac after high school, my boy convinced me to download Ableton. I was like, this is how people are making music. We were
Shout
hella
out
into
to your boy, bro. Ableton
Dead
gang
Set.
forever.
Um, we were listening to a lot of like Flume and RL Grime and that sort of music, like trap, like the early EDM trap.
Yeah, hell yeah.
So that's what I was trying to make. And by the time the band ended, I was making those kind of beats. I was looking for rappers. I couldn't find any rappers, so I was just like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna try lay some bars down myself." Especially after I'd started moving from like EDM trap to more like hip hop beats.
Hell yeah. Um. So yeah, just kind of sounds like you said, something that happened. There was no one
Bro, just
experience.
that I wouldn't say there's one like if I was to point at one actual formal moment, it would be that one weird year 9 show that we did. I feel like if I hadn't have done that, maybe I wouldn't have been so gung ho on trying to make this shit proper. Because after that, I was just a music guy. Like I didn't take music in high school; it was something we offered. I did economics instead. But I remember in the last year of school, when everyone was doing their tests, like their end of year tests, end of school tests, um, I often wagged. I often ditched my economics class because so many people wanted me to sing for their high school music projects.
Really?
Because I was like one of only 2 male singers in our school.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Is singing gay in Australia?
I don't know. I mean, I never was like.
Was it like
For
that
me,
in
it
high
was.
school? Because I don't.
For me, it was always like a mark of charisma. I don't know if it was because of how I sung, because I definitely like leaned into the Jack Black rock, like
Yeah.
putting the grit in my voice, and that's definitely still with me to this day. But yeah, I don't know. I was never bullied for it. People loved it. Like, no joke, people fucked with it when I went on stage, and even at my
So
last,
sick, bro. People
even
liking
even
you
at our
at
last,
school is fucked.
even at my last year 12 graduation ceremony, we had assembled a small band, and it was a lot of the guys who I'd played in a band with previously from high school. We assembled a band and played the final countdown, and
Wow.
that shit was lit, bro. And I did a whole lap around the whole fucking audience at
What?
130 kilos, me in year 12 doing a whole lap, and everybody was going crazy for it, bro,
Oh,
because
dude,
it was
that's
like,
awesome.
I don't know. I don't know how to explain it more than just like the Jack Black energy, bro. A guy who you fuck with, but you also laugh with. And it's just like, I don't know. Some people probably thought I was just like a fucking fat cunt who just thought he was
Yeah.
too good. But some people genuinely love me, bro.
If they went crazy, dude, if they liked you at school, that's like, that's not, it doesn't happen, dude. Not like that.
I don't know. I had a pretty positive school experience. I reckon.
Me
like
too.
at the end of the day,
But and as a
I'm
musician,
not one of those guys. Straight. I'm not one of those guys. And especially, I had every reason to not like school. I was a fat motherfucker. I didn't pay attention in class. Teachers had a love-hate relationship with me. Like, but ultimately, I still like look back on my time quite positively, and
Oh, bro, it was sick for me too.
yeah, it was good. Like I know people who think that high school was the peak, and like it definitely wasn't the peak.
Fuck
But I also
no.
know people who are like, oh man, I fucking hated high school. I'm so glad I never have to go back. Like all those people suck. Like all the teachers suck. I'm like, man, yeah, like I don't know. You might have copped the hard draw, like the short stick, but I don't know. School here, at least for me, was okay. There was every school is gonna have its ups and downs, right? But it's about what you make of it and what you find out about yourself while you're there.
Absolutely. And you realize like another cliche thing, but you think you know what the fuck is up when you're like 14. You're like, "Oh, bro, I'm ready to go to work or do whatever." Like, and then just like many other things, it passes, and you're like, for the first year, you're stoked. First 2 or 3 years, you're stoked, especially if you didn't go to college, and then like, or if I guess it doesn't matter, but and then now I'm 24, and I'm like, damn, bro, like shit didn't matter, and now I'm at the skate park, and like, dude, oh my god, the other day, so my homie, he always hosts for his friends from like Pittsburgh and somewhere in Ohio when they come up here to stay like a weekend to ride or whatever, and they there was 6 people from out of town at my homie's house, and I went over there and had a few beers, and they were all like in their 20s, and then there's this one kid who's 15, and he's the craziest bike rider out of all of them, and he's like, kid has like long hair, and like he had a fitted hat on like Tommy Richmond, and I'm like, my homie Kyle, who's hosting him, he's like, yo, this is actually the coolest motherfucker ever, and I was like, yeah, okay, whatever, and then the kid, I got to meet him, and he's showing me videos of him on his bike because I hadn't seen them at the skate park yet, and he's 15 years old, and literally like his focus, he's like, dude, I literally just want to do so much scary shit on my bike this year, and I'm like, oh, dude, like, I looked at him, everyone else has like jobs and like bullshit, and I'm like, Seth, have so much fucking fun this next few years, bro. I'm like, what, you're worried about fucking your mom's mad because you're failing math, but you want to do cool shit on your bike? He's like, dude, I'm failing math, yes. I'm like, oh man, I know not every kid has it that easy, but there's such a charm to that shit. It's unfucking believable. Like, and to I wish I mean, I'm glad everything happened the way it did, but I wish I was making music in high school, especially stuff like I am now. Like, I made a little bit of music in high school, but it was all like on my phone, and it all kind of sucked. But to be like good, like to get the Jack Black experience in high school sounds fucked.
It was quite fun.
That's so
I mean,
sick.
it still haunts me to this day, bro. I still get Jack Black to this day. But you know, Jack Black for me was so instrumental in me like forming a love of music that I can't even be mad, bro. Like that was my hero at a stage, and still to a certain degree. Like he's older now. He's sold out a bit.
Oh, dude, the
He's doing
Bowser.
Minecraft movie and shit. But I still got a soft spot in my heart for like Tenacious D's music and a whole bunch of shit that he's lent his voice to. So it's like
Absolutely.
I'll always uh feel some type of way about that comparison. Um, and yeah, I think definitely transitioning from more of a metal background to a rap background, I had to wear some of that metal edge to keep myself unique and to keep myself a little bit different from everybody else who's doing something, because I have, and that's also something I struggled with from a time, like how much of that to really lean into, because it's like I'm switching my genre now. I want to be seen as doing what is, you know, like appealing to a certain degree, but I also want my point of differentiation. And I didn't realize early on how much of a difference that could make versus now. I kind of just lean into whatever I'm feeling now, bro. I have no limitations and I have no expectations for my music. I just want shit to sound good to me.
Yeah, it's funny how long it could take for that to happen. That's
Dead
actually
set.
what I wanted to talk about next. Is like you start and you're I think for me at least at the very beginning, I was making shit that I thought was cool, straight up.
Facts.
But then you're like, at least me, and I'm sure plenty of other people, you hit a point where you're like, all right, like I need to make stuff that'll get me on.
Mm.
I did that for a few years, and people liked it, but like it didn't really have much spirit in it. And
Mm,
then the past few years, after asking Avery so many times, like, yo, what should I do? Like, I'm a little bored with what I'm making. Like, what's next? She's like, do
mm,
something fucking different. And
mm.
then, I found Sabger and Morgan. We found Sabger and Morgan, and like, that just kind of changed everything. And discovering, 070 Shake and shit was huge because her shit isn't conventional. Like, it's listenable to most people, but it's still not conventional. And like,
I would say not conventional is a really good way to describe the music you try to make.
yeah,
Because experimental, I feel like gives a more jarring sort of
yeah, and
it
then
gives a jarring perception. But non-conventional is like you're doing something different just because it doesn't sound like fucking beeps and boops and fucking sounds going crazy everywhere doesn't mean that it's not different, you know?
yeah, yeah, and that's my goal. Is I guess mostly it's the beats that aren't
For
conventional,
sure.
but I literally just want to make shit I like. That's it at the end of the fucking day. And then in turn, just like Rick Rubin says, like if you're lucky, the shit that this isn't what Rick Rubin said, but you know what I mean. Based on that, if you're lucky, people will like the shit you do. And most of the time, if you're a good artist, when you make what you make for yourself, people are gonna like that
Mm.
more because it's just better. It's
Facts.
just and like
And they can feel that spirit and that energy and how much fun you're having and how much you actually genuinely like that shit, you know?
yeah, you want to be a fan. I don't work with people unless I'm a fan,
Yeah.
and that's the
No, I
rule.
get it. Like I there's a different excitement for me when I'm working with somebody who I'm genuinely a fan of their music. And I try to limit it to people who I only feel that way about because being completely honest, I don't know, I've gotten solicitations to work with many people and I very often work with few. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean that's
Like
why
I kind of want to be in the position where I'm reaching out to artists bigger than me and being that guy, you know. But I for some reason I never do. Um, but I feel like that would be a defining point in my career is if I started reaching out to artists who had like 50,000 or 100,000 monthlies, and I started trying to work with them as the small fish.
yeah, bro, and it's worth the money. But when here's the thing: is finding people small that like finding someone I fuck with as much as you
Mm.
who is on any similar stature to me is fucking like that doesn't happen almost at
No, it's
all.
hard. I've met a lot of people in music, and while I've met people whose music I absolutely adore, their work ethic didn't match with mine, so
Exactly.
ultimately it wouldn't work.
Yeah, bro.
So it's like, yeah, I still see certain people who are like, in the scene and haven't moved much in the last few years. Compared, and I don't want to make it seem like I haven't. I've gone crazy and have a bunch of monthlies and et cetera, et cetera. Been getting a bunch of support. It's coming. It's bubbling. Don't get me wrong. I've been seeing growth month on month since I dropped Bongus World, which is good, especially
Really?
since I
Hell
dropped
yeah.
the song Heaven Sent. Heaven Sent is my last release and has the most streams of any of my
Really?
songs. Uh huh.
It just happened like that?
Yeah, I
Dude.
didn't. That's probably what the one that I pushed the least because I had stopped doing like hella massive content rounds. The only thing that I did different for it was somebody reached out and asked to make an AMV for it, and I paid him for it.
Hell yeah.
And then he put it on his YouTube channel that he hosts, and he's got, I want to say, 90K subscribers.
Hell yeah.
So that was a good boost, and I'm still eating off that, bro. Like it's getting pushed daily by Spotify's um radio algorithm. So I noticed that it gets a lot of plays via radio.
That's awesome.
Um, yeah, I'm very happy with that. But yeah, so yeah, the original point I was trying to make, it's not like I'm going fucking crazy, even though I am seeing growth, and I'm happy that I've been putting in the steps to see growth. I've known people in this game who have been around just as long as me and don't have anywhere near as much to show for it. So it's like I wouldn't have been compatible on that level. I might like your music, but it's like I don't want to make music with somebody who that music's never going to see the light of day. And I know that I can be a bit slow to work. We've made songs like Red Sky and shit. We're just wondering when the fuck's that going to come out. But like, I
but look at
know
the
for
timing.
certain that it will. You know, I know for certain that it will.
Yeah, look at the timing now. We have fucking 4 to 5 tracks, 4 for certain, bubbling that like they're gonna come out probably this year.
I'm hoping, bro. I definitely think Good Lord and Two Phones and 3600 and Red Sky can definitely all come out this year. Especially Good Lord, Two Phones. Especially if we go and remix Red Sky, those 3 could definitely be released this year within the next few months.
And they could be big. Like I said, I don't really know. Like I'm trying to just stack a budget for that. I'm trying to learn about that, and I want to do this with you. You know, more if you're down and just talk, because there's so many conversations we've had where I'm like, if I could press OBS and just be like, don't say this or whatever.
Yeah.
Nah, I'm just kidding. I just like not talk politics or whatever, but like I don't know, you're one of the only motherfuckers that I feel like sees it in any way similarly to me. Not that I see it right, but it's just there's like a common ground that I found when chatting with you really this past couple months. Like, we got along great when we met last year, but this past couple months has just been different. And then, I mean, the chemistry on those fucking songs, like, I thought I was
undeniable. It's undeniable.
I thought I was the hook guy. You've done the hook on every song. Pisses me off.
I'm a hook guy, bro. I've kind of
met my match,
fallen into my I've fallen into my place as a hook guy in the scope of Trauma. We had Mercaset as our hook guy, but then he went to Philippines. And when he went to Philippines, I had already been experimenting with a bunch of auto-tune. So I ended up folding in the place of the hook guy there as well. And on my own songs, obviously, I'm making the hook and the verses and shit. And a lot of my music is based around trying to be catchy and trying to, like, create earworms. So that relies on having a good hook. So I very much, like, I just love a good hook.
Yeah, bro.
Put it like that.
Dude, the Good Lord, Two Phones, and Avery said it, and it's true. Like, you could say some basic rapper shit, but it's just so much cooler. Like,
but that's what it's about, bro. Like, for me, I feel like there's this balance that you have to draw between being simple and being yourself, and also being like that little edge more complex, where it's like you're not doing or saying exactly the same thing as everyone else, but you're also not too distant from that, so that you're like making yourself unappealing in the scope of music you want to make. Because I won't lie, like, a lot of the music I listen to is quite vapid, is quite shallow, is quite repetitive in terms of its lyrics. Like, I love Yee, but how many times can I hear the motherfucker talk about his diamonds as VVS flawless? You know what I mean? Like, and I still love it. Every time when I'm in the track, when I'm in the car and I'm listening to that shit, I'm going fucking crazy bonkers. But, you know, it's about striking that balance. What works with you? He's found it, but.
Oh, dude, the lyrics on these songs that we've done, like,
no, they're great.
Specifically,
I feel like they hit that mark of where we're trying to be. It's like the balance of being true to yourself, also bringing a little bit of that simplicity, because less is more, but also from time to time, just not being vapid and shallow. Like, it's a good mix of all three, and I feel like that's why I connect with those songs. Even something like Two Phones, which is just a freaking trap song at the end of the day, I feel like even that shows a little bit of that.
Yeah, well, the Real World line, like, Avery caught that, and then I liked it more after because it's like, people, like, rap music is a lot of just talking. And now I'm starting to treat shit like screenplays, because, you know, like, I want to make soundtracks for movies and shit, whatever, but, like, you still, like, a good trap song that is done well, I still adore. And, like, it's so much talking and so many people, like, when I'm looking at something like a screenplay, I'm like, I'm writing a character thing right now. This is not me. I'm not claiming this or that or whatever. But in Two Phones, with the bad girl in the real world, and, like, because there's so much not real world shit, and, like, I know you, and then I'm a dog, and you, like, oh man, like, that shit is magic, bro. It's so basic. It's so basic, but the way you delivered it, and, like, the combo of it all is just so sick.
Thank you, bro. I really appreciate that. Look, I completely agree. I'm in the same world. When I'm stepping into writing a song for Bongus, and I use a third person here. I try to step into an over-exaggerated character. I almost know and feel that every rapper is the same way. But I also try to write my raps in a way that I'm smart and where I won't get called a capper and where I won't get told that I'm playing this character. I try to keep this shit only a couple steps of elevation and exaggeration above me. So, like I'm aware of the fact that, motherfuckers talk about guns in raps and it's like a pretty cliche stereotypical thing. And I won't lie, I'm pretty partial to it. I've spoken about shooting and shit like that in my raps, even though there's no guns in Australia. So I'll be very careful to be like, I'll get my shooters on you. I won't shoot you, but I get my shooters on you because I do know motherfuckers that got guns around your ways. You know what I mean? So it's like
other side of the planet, take a fucking ferry to Australia.
I'm playing a character to a certain extent, but there's nuggets of truth in what I'm saying.
Absolutely.
And there's nuggets of truth in the feeling of how I'm saying it, because it's like I feel that way,
Yeah, absolutely. All right, we're coming up on an hour. I think we did a fantastic job. I have 2 questions left for you.
Absolutely, bro.
And I do want to do this. I want to do this repeatedly.
We should.
Just chopping it up. I mean, fuck, there's some conversations we've had that have been too wild for this, but that would be good.
Yeah, we need to do the up late.
The up late. Yeah, I think I'm just going to call this like a conversation with Bongus or something, because I don't have a name for the fucking
bro.
podcast. Like, just steal Rick Rubin's swag on that, I guess. Like, or a Discord call with Bongus.
Yeah,
that's it, and just put it on my YouTube. But what element of a beat to you is the most important?
That's a good question, bro. Man, it's such a hard thing, but like for me, I definitely respond to the bass, like the 808 is like that. It's that frequency, like that can really change a good song to a bad or a bad to a good if that bass don't hit right. And then that just comes back to what Travis Scott said is the drums, man.
Yeah, straight up.
So
no pun intended. Fuck.
Straight up. No, but for real, the drums is it's where the rhythm is. It's where the life of the beat is. Like there's a lot of good melodies out there, and I'm a sucker for good melodies and weird sounds. Like that God talking beat is just so alien and abstract to me because of its melodies and the sounds that they're using all over it. But I think more importantly, when I'm scrolling through YouTube, it's easier for me to find a better melody than it is for me to find better drums. And drums is often what kills it.
And there's nothing like you find something with a good melody and the drums suck. And it's like, yeah, you can change them afterwards. You could redo
Not
them
worth
yourself.
It, bro. I'd rather just make my own beat.
Yeah, at that point. So that's my drums, but really, like, I kind of agree. Because I didn't have my own answer to this question, but dude, the bass. Especially with, like, the Sapture bass and the way Morgan does it, like, that fucking gritty...
Sucker for tracks with a certain bass that I can't produce.
Yeah.
Like things with like Reese basses, I really struggle to produce beats with like a nice droning low synth bass, which is like pretty prevalent in the types of beats you like, the Sapture beats and the Morgan beats.
Like the Daylight beat?
Yeah. I struggle to make beats with bass like that.
Yeah.
Maybe my samples aren't good enough, whatever. But when I find beats that hit that note and it's something that I can't produce, that really does it for me as well. Because it's like most beats I hear on YouTube, I feel like I could have produced to a varying quality of a mix, like pending that. Because that's another big thing for me. You hear a lot of beats on YouTube that are good beats, but they have been mixed like shit, or are mid beats, but they've been mixed so well and everything hits so right that you're like, okay, I could use that. So that's another important element of it. Like, there's so much that comes into it, I guess.
Yeah, it's just like when someone asks you your favorite food, and it's like, what kind of fucking question is that?
It also depends on what genre you're trying to make. Like when I was trying to make a bit of jerk music, I was far less picky on the type of beat that I was trying to use because I was a little bit more unfamiliar with what a good jerk beat should sound like, and I was just open to experimenting more,
Absolutely. Well, that's a fantastic answer. And my last question is, what TV show or movie has influenced your music the most?
Oh, shit.
Because we've been talking about that a lot lately.
There's so fucking many, man. I think if you go back and listen to a lot of my lyrics, I always call back to Tony Soprano. And like the idea of being that mobster, but also that family man, like the court between the two.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that dichotomy. And there's so many shows that I love that follow that plot. And so many pieces of media that I love that follow that plot, like The Sopranos, Breaking Bad, even The Life of Pablo by Kanye, like has that aspect of which personality do I fall into, you know? And I love shit like that. I love shit that's not black and white. It's just so gray and morally gray, and like, because that's life, you know. I've at points made tracks where 2 years later I look upon it and I'm like, man, why did I make that motherfucking track? Why did I say that shit?
Yeah. Trust
But
me, I get it.
But you know, ultimately, it's part of who I am and it's part of my journey. And I think, yeah, if you look back on enough of my lyrics, there's enough mobster, mafia, and Tony Soprano lyrics to probably say The Sopranos.
That's fair. It's a very good answer. Um, yeah, that does it, dude. That does it. We're
Yeah.
at an hour. It's perfect.
Nah, that's boss,
If
bro.
anyone for any reason is still listening right now, is there anything you have to plug?
Oh yeah, go listen to Bongus World, Bxngus, on Spotify. That's me name.
Isn't there an exclamation mark?
With an exclamation mark, but it will come up without the exclamation mark, either or. Um, New music coming soon with the big man Stevie Xolo and some solo, and some with the group. But fuck, whole bunch of shit. You should plug your shit too, bro.
Yeah, true. Stevie Xolo everywhere. I'm trying to put out a song every month. I found my lane. I think I found my lane with the content. I know I've said that to you a couple times, but there's always been a lot going on.
Hard, yeah.
These
I've been
new
seeing
videos
the
are
skate
doing
park stuff
so well. At you as a viewer, does that retain you more?
It does, but me as a viewer is like the worst person because I do not touch Instagram these days. Like
That's
I've
fair.
been off it the last 5-6 months. I only get on to post or like leave a bit of support when I see something drop to the top. I will say yes, but it's also hard to gauge that because I have a bias because it's you.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course. And I'm obviously the same way. But just overall, like, you're more likely to watch that than me sitting right here lip syncing.
Oh, 100%.
You're not going to watch that unless it's new and you're actually interested in the song.
No.
There's no.
I 100% get that. And just trying to be more creative with the content is always good, you know?
Yeah.
You throw shit at the wall and see what sticks. That's what I was doing for a good part of last year. And helped me realize that once I want to start getting back into that, once I start getting back into that, I kind of know where to pick up from, and I know what my audience was responding to more than what they weren't responding to.
Yeah.
So just leaning further into that, and I feel like you're kind of doing that right now. So
hell yeah.
You know,
if I had to pick a demographic, a specific demographic, and I don't know, I don't think you're ever into skating or biking or anything. You may have been for a period.
Not entirely. I mean, I feel like my music definitely could appeal to those cultures, but me personally, I've never been super into it.
If I had to pick, and that's not why I started hanging out there. I didn't even think about it. But now after, being there several days a week for about over a month, if I had to pick one demo, that would be it. And those kids,
I honestly think it's just socializing with normal people, bro. Because when you, like, we were talking about it not long ago, but when you socialize with other musicians and you're trying to put them onto your music, there's always this competition and this competitiveness, and they want to critique and they want to tell you, oh, there's fucking too much frequency popping through in the low end, or the mix could be better on this, or personally I don't like it, or etc. etc. Like there's always some barrier of enjoyment for a lot of musicians unless they want to gas you up. Versus like I told you a couple of weeks ago, getting back into crypto has been one of the better things for my music than I thought, because people are just genuine. When you're a nice person and you socialize with people, they're genuinely curious in you and what you do and your endeavors. They find out you make music. To non-musicians, that's a cool thing. To other musicians, it's like, oh, you're just me. To other musicians, it's just like, oh, you're just trying to do what I'm doing. So it's like, I don't know, trying to lean in and be more social with actual people is quite paramount to, I think, building that fan base. For years and years, I've been trying to cultivate a fan base through musical friends and by offering, outlets to people who are coming up in the scene, and I've watched them all outpace me, and I've gotten, not to sound like a jealous cunt or anything like that, but I've not gotten anywhere by extending that hand. You know, I've just gotten forgotten. Whereas maybe if I'd have been cultivating a fan base of actual people who weren't musicians, maybe it'd be different, bro. You know?
Absolutely, and I'm learning that in the real world right now. I've gotten more followers the past 3 weeks off of those 4 videos than fucking anything I've done myself ever. It's fun.
Yeah.
So, yeah, last little piece here. I've been doing the, will you do a trick to my song? And the funniest part is I'm not good at biking. Like, I can ride my bike, and I can do jumps and shit. I can't really hit the shit at my skate park, unfortunately, but eventually I'm going to do one where someone comes up to me, and they'll be like, yo, will you do a trick to your own song? Fucking finally. I'm going to do something, and it's going to suck. It's going to be really funny. And I'm all tense now, because it's still been 9 years since I've ridden consistently, so that shit's going to be funny. But, alright, last time, Bongus everywhere, Bxngus, Spotify, Apple, everywhere, all that shit. It's IH8 Bxngus. Maybe I'll put in the effort to put it on the screen, but it'll be in the description.
Yes, sir.
Thank you to my brother from Australia. You are one of the greatest finds of my life, which is crazy to say. But the shit that we have coming, like I strive to not talk like this, because it's every artist. It's just like big things coming.
No, I feel the same way. I never try to overhype shit, but I am genuinely quite excited for the shit that we have in the tube.
Yeah,
I think that it's going to be very, very well received. I think if we market it right, it has potential to both bring some attention to our names. Might not be as big as maybe we hype up in our heads, but I definitely think that it has a potential to do something.
Yeah, it's something, and I think it should be an EP. I think getting a little project out every year, as long as it's not 12 tracks and this massive thing, I don't think that hurts. So
look, I don't think it hurts, but I also, for me, I've decided that Bongus World 2, when I do release it, is going to be coming out as a cascade, better than putting it out, because it's just too much music to drop on deaf ears, bro.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why, like, if we do the EP, it'll be 4 or 5 max. It might be 6, but 3 of them will be singles. You know what I mean? And it's like real fans don't like that, and I, as a real fan of people, don't like that, but it's
fuck it. You gotta play the game. The music scene has fundamentally shifted, and the culture has changed, and people are born into this streaming generation and want that instant gratification. And it's easier for me to drop 12 singles in a year than it is to package and deliver and put out a 12-song mixtape that I know that only my true fans is going to get to the end of, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. So, all right, finally wrapping up. Bxngus, IH8 Bxngus on all platforms. Stevie Xolo. Stevie Xolo with 2 X's on all social media platforms. Stevie's, you guys know. I hope. And if you don't know, it'll be in the bio. Thank you to my long-lost brother from Australia. And God bless America.
Bro, you would not believe how many times I show people our music, and they're like, Stevie, the American you, for real.
Really?
All the time.
That's
crazy. I've heard so many people around here be like, you guys just have that chemistry that works so well together.
It's crazy.
And it's almost like you are me with an American accent, and I am you with an Australian accent.
You're a better singer than me, though. But yeah, since I started getting the grit in my voice,
I think you're a better rapper than me, so it's...
I think you're a better... It's perfect. It's perfect, dude. All right, well, last time, thank you again, bro.
Bless
I will put everything
and bless to anyone who's listened, bro.
If anyone has made it this far, dude, you will get free merch.
You're a trooper.
Maybe. All right, I love you all, and we will catch you next time. We're going to do this again very soon. A Discord call with Bongus. Goodbye.